I'm Kris.
And I'm Rachel.
Coming to you from the Spencer Museum of Art.
Kris, it looks like we have some ceramic vessels to look at today.
Yes, Rachel. Today I want to talk to you about three different tea vessels from three different parts of East Asia. The oldest one is from China, and then this middle one is from Korea, and the last one I'm going to talk about is from Japan.
I notice you're wearing gloves today.
Yes, so I'm going to handle them later, and I don't want to harm them, so this is to protect the vessels.
Great. And what do we need to know about ceramics before we talk about these specific examples?
Well, ceramics, these were all made on a wheel so that it was turning, and then the ceramic artist would shape the body, and then that would have been fired in a very hot oven called a kiln. The heat was produced by wood, and then after that they would have been coated in a glaze or a slip.
And that would give it the color or the sheen that would be on the outside of these vessels.
Yes, and it was actually so hot that the glaze would actually turn to glass.
So what can you tell us about this first example?
So this first one was made during the Song Dynasty, probably around the 9th or 10th century in China, and is a type of ware called jian. And jian is the name of the kiln site. The kiln is the oven that it was produced in. So after the body was made, they would have put this glaze on there, and you can see how it pools here in the middle in this very black glaze. And it's a type of effect called hare's fur or rabbit's fur, because it looks like something on a rabbit.
I can see that. It's almost like little brush strokes coming out from the center.
And you can see another effect that was highly prized was the way that the glaze would drip on the foot. We can see it here. And it's said that during this time, Buddhist monks really highly prized jianware for its simplicity. You can see it's a very simple shape, and for its dark glaze, which would have highlighted the frothy foam on tea that would have been made during that time.
So tea is a type of leaf that grows on trees in East Asia, and those leaves can be processed in different ways. So I know that that powder could be used to be whipped up into a frothy kind of foam that would have contrasted nicely with the body of this. But then later those tea leaves were dried and used as whole leaves.
Yes.
Whole leaves as they were steeped in hot water.
Yeah, so the customs of drinking tea changed over time and are manifest in different ways in each of these cultures.
Interesting. So what about this next one?
This one is from Korea. It was made during the Chosun Dynasty around the 14th or 15th century, and it's a type of ware called puncheong, which actually describes the color of what is called slip, which is this liquefied clay that's placed on the outside of the body. You can see these marks. Can you see these these striped marks on it?
Yes. They're almost like ridges that stick out a little bit.
And that was from the turning of the vessel.
It also seems like the slip around the outside is almost splotchy in a few places, like down here.
Yes. This is because this type of ware was actually made for everyday use. So it was just made for commoners. But then it becomes highly prized in Japan, where it was revered for its simplicity.
So is this last example looks a little bit different than the others? Is it related to this?
Yes, so this type of ware is called karatsu, again for the place where it was made. And one theory is that the production of this type of ware was based on Korean ceramics.
And why is this one shaped so differently than these other two?
Well, this one is for winter tea, and you can see that it has a very high body, so that you can actually keep the tea warm. You can imagine holding it with your hands. and it warming your cold hands in the winter. And there are several aspects of this which are very interesting. The first is this gold repair here, which is made out of lacquer mixed with gold powder in a process called kintsugi.
That seems kind of unusual to highlight something that's broken that way.
That was part of the aesthetic, was to actually highlight the imperfections. And another imperfection that's very intentional is this effect on the inside where the glazing looks cracked and making it look old. This is a process called crazing. So all of these effects together were very important to the look and design of this vessel.
So I can see how each of these bowls were made specifically by the ceramicists to meet certain needs of the people who are going to use them, to keep their tea warm in the winter or to highlight that light-colored frothy foam that would be on the tea.
And even to give you an inexpensive bowl that you could use every day.
So I can see that the function of these vessels is very important and sort of shapes how the tea culture would have developed in these places.
But we can see across time and across space that tea remains a very important part of East Asian culture, and its appreciation changed over time.
Well, thank you for sharing these with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.